Now it may look like we are making mini Cinnabons, but we are far from that. We are actually making something called a Dhakai chaat, जिसकी recipe मुझे Google पे भी नहीं मिली. So I have my friend Amninder with me in the kitchen to teach us what a Dhakai chaat is. So what is it?
So it's the lesser known chaat, and that's the reason I thought I must pick this. I saw it the first time in Calcutta.
Okay.
And it is actually a traditional recipe from East Bengal.
Okay.
And so you'll see it in like Calcutta, Bangladesh and regions like that.
Okay.
There is also a version of it which is known as Dhakai Parotha.
Okay, so that base is the parotha on which you will create a chaat.
Yeah, but when you make the chaat, I'm using suji, maida and rice flour for it because you want a very khasta. It's almost like a Raj Kachori, but it doesn't puff up that way and it's layered.
So it's a mixture between Raj Kachori and a big sev puri, which actually looks like a tostada. That's what it is. You have to admit it. That's what it actually is.
Also a lacha paratha, somewhere in between.
Fine, perfect.
Yeah, because it's layered.
Okay.
And when they do a puri parotha version of it, then it's just maida. And then it's usually eaten with cholar dal.
Okay. So we are making it with rava and maida.
Yeah, because we're doing a chaat. So we want like full khasta scene happening here.
Okay.
I'll take rava.
Okay.
It's usually 2 cups of rava.
Okay.
And one of these two. Maida, one.
And what is this?
This is rice flour.
Okay.
So this also helps in making it crispy.
Okay.
The rice flour.
When did you eat this chaat first?
I ate it in 2002.
I don't mean the year. I mean like when? What's your first memory of this Dhakai chaat?
So it was 19 years ago. I was training at Taj Bengal and it was a wedding season. For one of the weddings, there was this special chaat and I was very, very intrigued because I'd never seen something like this before.
Okay.
19 years later also, I've never seen this.
Literally, I couldn't even find this on Google. Like there were far and few recipes.
Yeah.
And it looks really pretty, especially when we get to the peda, which we'll get to once you start making it. So tell us what more will go into it.
And then it's just water. You make a hard dough like you would do.
So you will not first put the ghee and make the breadcrumbs?
No, I'll laminate it later.
Okay.
And then just room temperature water, not a lot. I mean, the best way to do this is to go little by little so that you don't overdo it.
Okay. Are you fond of chaat? Because from what I know you're not into like street food.
No. I mind the hygiene situation of street food.
Which is why this show, because then they can make the chaats at home.
Yeah. And you can control the water, ingredients you're using, your hand washing.
Do you have a preferred chaat, the one that you really make it at home and eat, that you like?
I like dahi papri chaat a lot. That's one of my favorites. I also like kulle chaat, which is also a lesser known chaat.
Oh, we made that. We made that in our first episode.
Huh?
Kulle ki chaat.
Yeah, I like
with
that.
Chef Saransh. So I've seen this about your cooking, that while you stick to doing Indian food, sometimes that can be very predictable for a lot of people. But the unique recipes that you come up with, like for example this chaat.
Yeah.
Why do you think people need to start working more with such recipes?
Because if we don't talk about them and if we don't dig hard and find these, we'll lose them, right?
Right.
And I think preservation of these lesser known things is just like I feel like a sense of responsibility because I take immense pride in Indian cuisine.
Right. But are there any other dishes like that you have, previously put on your menu that are not so known, and you won't, the main thing is you should not find them on Google. I think then they're truly unique.
Yeah. Like you can't find gosh ka halwa on Google.
Is it sweet?
It's sweet.
Made with mutton?
With mutton. Halwa with mutton.
Okay. That's like Rachel's trifle. Beef and custard and God knows what all.
Full on. But here you can't tell that it's keema. I mean, when you'll eat it, you'll feel like it's moong dal halwa.
Wow, okay, I don't know.
It's really amazing. It's very, very yum. And I paired it once with a smoked Naga black cardamom ice cream.
Okay.
And it was really nice.
See, such ingredients also, you also work with a lot of ingredients that are not very mainstream. Yeah? So tell me about a couple of them that you've discovered in your journey as a chef. And how many years has it been?
For me, I've been professionally cooking for, if you also considered my 3 years of culinary school, then 21 years.
How much do we have to need this? You've been needing this for a while now.
It's a very needy dough.
It's a good food pun. I'm going to use it somewhere.
The more you knead it, the better it gets.
Yeah,
and it also wants to rest after it's being needy.
Okay, nice. It's a very temperamental dough, I must say. Can you use this dough to make anything else like, apart from this?
You can make simple puris also with this. You can even make a papdi with this if you just score it on top,
What
like
is score?
as in you
Like footballer score, cricket score.
like
What is
with a fork you make holes so
Okay.
that it doesn't inflate.
Okay, okay.
Then it becomes a papdi,
Okay.
and or you can just make puris out of it. Also.
So what is the time that I need to knead this for?
I think 10-12 minutes of good massage kneading.
So it needs massage, it needs rest. It might as well be like some Paris Hilton. And when will we laminate it to make it all glamorous?
After you've allowed it to rest for half an hour.
Okay, so this is going to rest now.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, I think we can get to the chutney because I think your chutney is also slightly little different than what regular imli ki chutney is.
Yeah, and the thing with this is that it shouldn't be sticky,
Okay.
and it also shouldn't be dry. So you know, like, do this, and you can tell like it's not sticky and it doesn't even feel
yeah,
dry.
it's not sticky, it's not dry. It's moist but not very powdery.
It's thoda sa like you can-
Granular. Yeah, I can feel the
yeah,
dana.
yeah.
Okay.
So then you know it's done.
Okay.
This looks almost done. We'll rest it for half an hour.
Okay.
Why don't you start the imli chutney till then?
When you say start, what do you mean by start? Are we going to be cooking this or blending it?
We'll cook it. So there's a tadka. First we'll do the tadka, then
Okay.
we'll add the tamarind pulp, jaggery, and then cook it for like
Okay,
7-8 minutes.
one thing at a time. So I'll start with this then.
Yeah, take the pan.
How much oil?
Just 1 teaspoon.
This is
Yeah,
good?
Good. Now you add jeera. Let that crackle. Abhi hing dalo. Just a pinch. Okay. Stir it.
No chili? Nothing to like spice in it?
Yeah, we will add chili, but I'm just let's cut the heat. And now you can add chili.
Chili powder?
Yeah,
How much?
just half a teaspoon. Yeah. And add saunt. Dry ginger. Saunt is dry ginger. It's the most important ingredient in this. This is also called saunt chutney for the same reason. It's the main
Oh,
flavor.
this is saunt ki chutney.
Haan.
Can you? I've also seen some people add fennel to it. Can you add it?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can add fennel or even kalonji.
Nice.
People also add khajur in it, but that's a more new agey saunt
But this
chutney.
is basic traditional 3-4 ingredients, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a few unique chutneys in India because when you make chaat, you usually stick to imli ki chutney and mint chutney.
Yeah.
What are the other chutney variations?
I really enjoyed making suran ki chutney. which
Ole
is-
ki chutney,
Haan,
right?
Yeah.
And which
that-
part is that from?
That is more UP again, and it's like
Bihari. I think it's Bihari ole ki chutney.
No, but even in UP they make
make
it, and during Diwali it is considered like a ritual to eat suran. So
Okay.
it brings prosperity, and that vegetable is really respected that
Okay.
time of the year.
Okay.
So you see like suran ki chutney a lot around Diwali.
But that chutney is actually like a dip. It's like
yeah,
thick,
haan.
right? Okay. Tell me some chutneys that come from the region that you're from.
So in the northeast, a very interesting chutney that I saw was jackfruit seed chutney,
Nice.
which was done in a mortar and pestle with bhut
Okay.
jalakya and garlic
Okay.
and you like pretty much like roast the jackfruit seeds on open fire, and then you peel the skin and then grind it like in a mortar and pestle
And what do you eat it with?
with your dal chawal,
This
sabzi,
sounds very
machi.
interesting.
It's very nutty. It's very beautiful. It's a good recipe.
And the ant chutney from Chhattisgarh. No? It's very.
Yeah.
Have you eaten it? Have you
no,
tried it
no,
before?
I haven't tried it.
But I think it'll be very lemony because that's what I know about ants, that they're very lemony.
Not all ants are lemony.
No, maybe not the Indian ants. Okay. So this is done.
Yeah.
What do I do with this now?
Now we add the tamarind pulp
To this?
to this
Okay.
and jaggery, and we just let it cook for 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay, let's do that.
And we'll add kala namak for seasoning.
Go on.
Yeah. Dal do, आधा डाल दो.
And
Jaggery.
Are there like different kinds of tamarind chutneys?
There are various different types of saunt chutney. It's called saunt because of dry ginger powder that you add in it.
What I'm trying to ask you is that every chef, every Indian chef tries to take Indian recipe to another level by adding their interpretation to that recipe, right?
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that? What do you feel about chefs, modern Indian restaurants taking a traditional Indian recipe and changing it around? Because you don't do that. You keep flavors. So if you do a kebab, then it is a kebab recipe, and
Yeah.
it is how kebab is eaten.
Yeah.
You don't, add modern things to it and
No.
put like microgreens and flowers to it. But we'll do that today for the sake of this show. Tell me.
I think garnish is cool, but yeah, so I think there are two types of chefs, if I may say so. For some, it's like fancifying everything makes sense, right? If they don't like to cook just things the way they are. And there are some who just want to preserve and hold on to a recipe, and I probably fit into that category.
What category of chefs do you fall under? The traditional ones who like to preserve recipes, or the ones who like to experiment with it?
Preserve recipes. I don't think there's a real need to fancify without knowing the actual recipe.
Do you admire any chef who is doing modern interpretations of Indian food?
I admire Prateek's work.
Okay.
I think he pushes boundaries.
Okay, and that's okay for you because you think that
that's
both
his
have their
vibe.
own place.
Yeah, yeah.
How far would you go in terms of experimenting, and when is it that you say, okay, I will not mess up with this dish further than this?
Sometimes I like to elevate a dish, and that usually happens if I have a unique ingredient that I want to use.
Such as?
Like I use Manipuri black rice and I made a dosa out of it and I put butter chicken in it and then I sprinkled gunpowder over it.
Okay, so see, so you do like
But it's
making things modern.
yeah, but that's like a smaller percentage of the menu,
Okay.
and it also totally depends on what kind of restaurant that I'm designing the menu for.
Right, okay. But do you feel close to a certain region of India when it comes to cooking or in terms of ingredients, procuring ingredients?
Yeah, I would say for procuring ingredients, I feel close to Northeast because having grown up there, I know there's so many ingredients there which haven't been.
And they're not even mainstream. People don't
No,
even know about
no,
it.
and it's difficult to source them. There aren't really any supply chains for those ingredients.
So which are these ingredients?
So like tengamura, or I use gutti aloo.
Gutti aloo, I know, those
Chotu.
really small baby
Ah.
ones. What is
Tengamura is roselle.
Okay.
So tengamura is used in dal. It's used in chutneys and all of that, and it looks like a rosebud.
Okay.
But in Indian cuisine, we haven't really used it.
Like the rosebud that we are going to be making with
Yeah.
that dough.
Yeah. So on that note, I think this is done.
Okay.
We should go ahead with the rosebuds. We'll now shape the pedas.
Do you feel that Indian food is very technique heavy?
It is absolutely very technique heavy. I mean, it's very intricate. The use of spices. I mean, a lot of my friends tell me that they don't try cooking Indian food at home because
They get confused what spice to put
yeah,
where.
they're like, we're totally intimidated. We don't know what spice to use for what.
And also, we've been Indians all our lives, and we still keep discovering new cuisines that we've never heard of. Last cuisine I discovered was that Balti food in Turtuk, because I didn't even know that cuisine existed, which is a mixture of little Afghanistani,
Yeah.
little Kashmiri, little Pakistani. Like I didn't know it existed until 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So every part of the country you go, you find another cuisine, and then how do you kind of say that this is Indian, this is not, or it is Indian subcontinental? That I think is where the beauty of Indian food lies.
Absolutely. You can spend a lifetime learning it.
What
and
do you-
you'll never be bored.
What do you think you're doing in order to highlight these things, apart from, of course, cooking in restaurants? Is there a project that you feel close to, or you want to document a certain cuisine? Is there something specific?
I want to document open fire cooking and how it plays such a big role in Indian cooking.
Now that you've said it on camera, you will have to do the book. No?
I have to.
What is it that you find interesting about open fire cooking? Because your restaurant, like a very popular restaurant in Bombay that you opened, had no
gas.
No gas.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because the way, like now when I cook on gas, really I feel like if it's
Sorry, अभी
half-baked.
हमारे पास तो
So,
यही है.
yeah, but the way ingredients break down when you cook on in a heavy bottom copper lagan over an angithi is very different from what happens on a gas burner.
But is that more focused towards meats, or does that happen even when you're not cooking meat? It's like plant-based food.
It happens for everything, even for, it makes so much sense for lentils.
Okay.
Like I used to cook gutti aloo in an almond gravy,
Okay.
and I would cook it over an angithi.
Okay.
Even simple things like bangan bharta or your fulka, when it's done on wood or charcoal, it's absolutely different.
Can you tell me a little bit about Indian equipments? For example, like everybody knows what a kadai is, but what is angithi? Or what is you know, there are so many different equipments that you had in your kitchen that you used.
So I designed those equipments myself, and I'd seen a small angithi in my mom's backyard, and she would always use it to
What
cook.
is that? What
So
is
it looks
angithi?
like a tandoor, but it's smaller. It has a wide mouth, so your
Okay.
lagan fits on it.
Okay.
And when your coal, you don't start cooking when your coal is like high flames. You let it smolder, and at that point you put your lagan on it and you slow cook it.
And that affects the food how?
So because copper is a good conductor of heat, plus you're slow cooking, so the retention of flavor is a lot better.
Lot more.
Moisture is retained also better.
Okay, okay.
And
So interesting. If only we like captured all these little things
Yeah.
just to make your own home food better. Not like you can get angithi in the house, can you?
you can't get it at in your house, but a lot of people who also have outdoor spaces will probably buy a barbecue grill, but they'll
But
never.
not angithi.
Yeah, so I think that can definitely happen.
And that needs to change, maybe.
Yeah, I'm just putting ghee on it and dust it in rice flour.
This is not dusted in maida.
No, rice flour, because we want the layers to open up better, and rice flour does a better job of that. And then we'll just make a cut here and roll it.
Oh, this is rolled like this and
Yeah.
not like this.
Yeah, like a cone. And then when you're rolling, you just have to be mindful that the new layers are above the old layers.
Okay. Just like a rosebud.
Yes.
What was that word?
Roselle.
No, the
Tengamura.
Tengamura. Wow, this is damn complicated. Is there an easy way to do this?
No,
for
it's not
people?
complicated at all. If you try it once, you'll
Get it.
get it. And then you cut it midway. And then dip it in ghee. And then it has to rest.
So while that is resting, I have a bunch of questions to take with you. Usually we take our guests to this special corner, but I think you are somebody I know will want to keep a close watch on your dough, your temperamental dough. So we'll hang around in the kitchen and have a few questions for you.
All right.
Yeah?
Let's
Are you
do it.
ready?
I'm ready.
Come. No chaat bar today because Amninder refuses to leave the kitchen and the pedas. So here we are. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions.
Okay.
Okay? I'll start.
Start.
If you could do a cook-off with anyone in the world, who would it be with?
Thomas Keller.
And whom do you want to cook for?
I wanted to always cook for Milkha Singh, but I can't do that anymore.
Are you a texter or a caller?
Texter.
Not a voice noter?
Nowadays, yes.
Nowadays, yeah. Do you have a song that you listen to when you're cooking at home?
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, I have a playlist.
Can you sing one?
No.
Okay, at least tell us which one. Yeah.
Singing don't make me do.
Okay, so tell us which song.
Romeo Juliet by Dire Straits.
Nice. Is there a playlist that you have, like a set kitchen playlist?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, if you could work with one spice, only one spice for the rest of your life, which one would you pick?
Coriander seeds.
And if you could chuck one for good, like the most useless Indian spice?
I could name a fruit. I would give up
Give up?
guava.
Guava?
Yeah.
No Peru for you.
No.
Dal makhani or butter chicken? Hard one, no?
Yeah, butter chicken.
Saransh will be very happy. Seekh kebab or galoti kebab?
Seekh kebab.
Paratha or naan?
Paratha.
Biryani or samosa?
Biryani.
Rice or wheat?
Rice.
Rate in order of your preference in terms of Indian food. Punjabi, Assamese, Lucknowi.
Punjabi.
Really? That's what you feel the closest to?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. If you could swap lives with another Indian chef, whom would you choose?
No.
No one? Just happy being you.
Yes.
That's sweet. Restaurants in Bandra or restaurants in South Bombay?
Bandra.
Catered. Why?
I think they're more fun, and the micro
Thanks.
restaurants in Bandra are a lot more fun.
The smaller ones.
Yeah.
Which one do you hate more? A vegan customer or a gluten-free customer?
Vegan.
Why?
Because it knocks off 99% of my menu.
Yeah, it's hard to make Indian food without ghee.
Yeah.
Describe the following dishes the way a foreigner would describe. Okay? Dal makhani.
Slow cooked black lentils.
Chole bhature.
Chickpeas, tangy chickpeas with pomegranate, dried pomegranate seeds and
Puri, how do you
ginger
how do-
with puffed fermented bread.
Bhel.
Hi, hi.
Hard one.
Yeah, it's very hard. Bhel is like the really shitty, like sometimes you see on menu cards melange of puffed rice and chutneys and tamarind and blah blah blah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're doing a decent job. You're making these things sound normal.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Okay, next one. The most absurd nickname somebody has given you.
Harminder Singh. Dharminder.
Okay, your closest friend in the industry. Come on.
Bollywood जैसा आंसर देना पड़ेगा.
Oh, all of them.
Everyone's my friend.
No, really. Who's your closest friend? Whom do you confide into most?
Actually, nobody.
No one.
No.
Okay. If not a chef, what else would you be doing?
Hairstylist.
Yeah, I can totally imagine you being a hairstylist. If you were a product, what would be your tagline?
Everlasting happiness.
Sweet. On that note, I have asked you everything, and I think your pedas are also ready to be rolled. So let's get on to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on. These are rolled out. Now we'll fry them.
Thank you.
And then take the ladle and pour hot oil in the center. So because you want the layers to open up, you can see them opening up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
feel it.
real
more,
flower.
More.
Okay, give me another one. Nice. It's literally opening up like a flower.
Yeah.
Does it have to be brown or golden?
Golden brown.
This one's done.
Yeah.
We're ready to plate these Bangladeshi sev puris now. Shall we?
Yeah. Come on. Let's
Okay, I
do it.
won't call them Bangladeshi sev puris only for your sake and call it the Dhakai chaat. Take the pretty flowers. This one?
Yeah. And then we'll top it with mashed potatoes, sprouts.
Give me the potatoes. Thoda thoda. Do they have to be like super mashed? Because these are seeming very chunky to me.
That's fine. Chunky is nice also.
Okay. You're sweet, yeah. You gave me all the easy stuff to do. Took all the hard part away. Sweet.
Thank you. Put some salt on it. काला नमक डाल दे. Put dahi, but just like dollops of dahi.
Little bit?
थोड़ा ज़्यादा. Now let's put the chutneys.
Red or green? Any?
Any.
I'd put green नीचे because वो red बहुत मेहनत से बनाई है.
अच्छा.
मैंने. The real hard work are these puris.
Nice. अब थोड़ा मसाला डालते हैं. जीरा पाउडर, धनिया पाउडर.
Roasted jeera.
थोड़ा लाल मिर्च and चाट मसाला also you put.
And chaat masala. Then save.
Anar.
Arey, this is looking so cute. Finish with save.
ज़्यादा डालो.
I wish there was no.
And coriander sprig.
Now that only a chef can do. This little sprig. हम तो ऐसा धनिया you chop and you put it on top. Like you do
Kenya.
You do the need. It's not Kenya. It's dhania. Good one. That was a good one.
Very good one.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay. So will you eat your own chaat now?
Yeah, I can.
Why are you looking so skeptical? Okay, while we enjoy our chart, you please go like this video and we will see you next week with another chart and another guest.